Hello viewers, welcome to this video. My name is Isaac. In this video we'll be talking about the to-do list using JavaScript. Okay, so let's start. First of all, JavaScript is an object-oriented programming language that joins both CSS and then HTML together and gives them functionality in a web page, or it helps to stylish a web page. Okay, now let's start. So here I connected the JavaScript to the HTML element using the get element by ID. I use the get element by ID this to connect the JavaScript to the HTML element here. So which means what it means is that I joined. So what it means that the JavaScript select elements from the HTML in order for we to be able to control them. So we select elements from this HTML for we to be able to control them. So now let's start. We said let's completed count equal to 0. Let's open our let's open our web page and see something. So here's our web page. This is okay. So we said let's completed count equal to 0. So it means that what this does is that it shows the number of tasks completed, and then it starts from 0. So if we are able to complete the tasks over here, so let's take for instance let's say John is a boy, then add tax, say Amma is a girl, and then you're able to complete all these tasks. You mark here, so here this, so we got the task to here. The task completed is 2. So here, so this counts the number of tasks completed, this, and we have the task completed to be 2. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one, which is the add button click events. Okay, so what this does is that the add button dot add event listener, what it does is that it tells the JavaScript tells the button to do something whenever it is clicked. Okay, so if for instance you said the boy is good. We printed the boy is good. So here we are saying that what it does is that it tells the button here to do something. So here you see it's doing something. So when we press the button, see it was able to send this thing here. So that's the function of the add button dot add event listener. That's what it does. And also with this one, what it does is that if there's no input here, if there's nothing here, and then so here, if there's nothing over here, if there's nothing here, and then press here, nothing will come. You see when you press here, there's nothing happening. So that's what it does. Now let's move on to this one. With this element, what it does is that it helps create new list of items. So for instance, like you see what we did over here. So like let's for instance what we type all the list here. So it's by the help of this is what creates the list. So you see these are in a list, it's in a list from here. So it's by the help of this that helps you to create this list, that brings about this list over here. Okay, so now let's go down here. So here the functionality is that its function is that whenever you type something it should show up. So you see what I'm typing is showing up. So that's its function. So let's see God is good. See, when we type that God is good, it's showing up here. God is good showing up here. So that is the function of this. This is what this does. This is what this does. So whenever you type something here, it shows it up over here. Okay. So now let's move on to this. The constant delete button element here. Let's move on to here. This one. So what it does. So here, what it does is that when you press on and then when you press on this text here, this here, and then you see it as deleted, like that's smashed through, a line has crossed through. The join is a boy. So that's the function of it. And then this thing is represented by X. The delete button is represented by X. Okay. So let's do for another one. So the armor is again has been crossed. It's by the function of this. The delete button is represented by X, which is here. So let's do for another one here to mark it is crossed. And that's the function. That's the function of this. That's the function. That's what all this talks about. The delete button. And then let's remember that we said that over here. We said over here that this counts the number of tasks completed, and you start from 0. So you see as you are able to complete the task, you see it's counting over here. So now, let's move to here. So here each function is that it just marks the task as completed here. So the other might count the number of tasks completed. So here the task is completed. Here it writes over here that the task has been completed. Okay, so now let's move on to the this side. Here. So here what it does is that whenever click on a button, so whenever you click on the button, the X here, you see here, this removes the tags. That's its function. So it helps delete the tags. So it removes the tags. You see you press here, it's a girl is gone. So that's it fine. That's what it does. Now let's move on to these ones. So what it does is that add elements to the list item and append to the list. Okay. Then what it does is that it helps clear input box. So it clears the input box. So this type something and then you are clearing. It helps clear it. So that's its function. Then here it helps so what this does is that it updates the total task and then the completed task. So here we've completed the total and then this one here. So it updates all this total task. We know that the task you completed is only one here. So it updates both the total then the completed task. Okay. So thank you. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you once again.